Hello everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to fully implement and use the blending tool on Photoshop. Okay, for the first example, I have a background image and I have my brightness levels because for blending, they, are, they mostly use from darkest to lightest. Like here's an example. So normally, this is the blending but like the options. Normally will be normal, which would just mean the image is overlapped. But for example, I go to multiply, the dark the darker is the blackness is like more emphasized, while screen is the opposite with white being the main color. So if you multiply, you can see since earlier on, grayish is around is from like I'm assuming 75, 50, 25. So this would be the image would be darker and lighter, while a screen would be the opposite effect. And adding on from multiply, you can also go to opacity and change it. So somewhat like this. And adding on, there's not just multiply and screen. You can actually play around with, such as color burn. You can see which one will suit your image, basically. On to my second example, I'll teaching you how to use the darkness. You can see that it's a nice image, but we want to make it like darker with the use of screens. So we can just go here, press this color button, you can add a curve. On this curve, you want to affect the image below it. Like just target this image. For in this instance, I only have one. Just press this button, and you can actually play around with the colors, make it lighter because over here will be the lightest, here will be the darkest. And you can just press the reset button here to reset it. So we actually don't need to play with it for now, and we can just go to dark. We can go to multiply, and we will have this kind of image where it looks nice, and we can play with the opacity. I think like this would look nice. Okay, next up, from what we learned just now on multiply, let's try to let me show you another method of using blending. So on this image, I have a background which I blurred to emphasize the woman here, and this woman is a separate file. So you can see the lighting here, the light coming from here, but the woman's face is a bit bright. So to fix that, click here, click curves, and you select the subject layer. You press it here, and since you want to remove the light, aim for around here. So let's just try. Yeah, no, it become too dark. So we reset. We go somewhere lower, like here, and we want to emphasize the darkness also a bit. So we increase it a little bit, and it looks much better. And when you do this, it's also best to group it as well, so that you won't get confused. Okay, next example. I want to show you how to use blending to sort of enhance the image or add something behind it. So from this file, let me add this fire image. Since this character is known to play with fire, so you can see this image has a black background. And just as I mentioned, multiply is to make it enhance the darkness, while screen is to remove it. So we can choose screen, but we can notice a bit of color differentiation here, so we choose lighten. And we control T to adjust the image size, because I think it's a bit too small. Like this, and we shift to increase the flame a little bit. So we're gonna mask the image behind. So let's just go to our background. Click on Object Selection Tool. Let it select. And we press Alt and the masking button so that it reverses. Nice. And with this, we can also play with the colors. We can click here, hue saturation. Once again, click this to select the fire. So if you do not click this, it will affect the whole image. So select, then it will only affect the fire. His color is a bit more orangey. Just tilt it a bit to the right. Yep, it looks much better. Okay, last example. If you want to add an object or individual to a background image, such as Mr. White here, like from earlier on, just now I showed you, since Mr. White has a black background, you wanna use the screen, but you can notice that sometimes the image will become transparent. So we actually don't need to use blending. There's a simple tool. We get the properties over here. Scroll down, quick actions, remove background. Click the layer, remove background. Nice. You remove the background, but of course sometimes there are like issues here which can be easily fixed if we just erase it. For the sake of this tutorial, I won't really nitpick too much since it's just a tutorial. You can see it looks better, but since the light is coming from this way, Mr. White really looks out of place in this image. So to help with lighting, with the use of blending as well, click on layer, fill layer, solid color, name it whatever. Put for the hue 0, saturation 0, and brightness 50% for it to be gray. Next up, we're gonna add vibrance and hue saturation. We want to have the color fill above everything. So for hue, we're gonna put the properties, move it over here. We're gonna make the vibrance saturation max out. Color, we're gonna put it under luminosity so we can see the temperature in the colors. Hue saturation, you don't really need a touch. For this layer, we can see that Mr. White is bluish, so I'll add another hue saturation and convert it to wait, no, not hue saturation, sorry. Be adding a curve and then linking it to the image below so that it doesn't affect everything, you know. So we want to play with, since we can see blue, we switch it to blue and move it downwards a little bit. You can see now it become greenish. So okay, nice. It's fitting into the temperature of the picture. And red, I guess we can remove it a little bit only, not that much. Okay, now let's see what happens. You can see the image before. This is after. This is before. Oh, we can see we actually affected everything. Okay, now it's just affecting Mr. White. See this after, before, after. Lighting already looks better. Just minor adjustments with the colors in the curves. And the curves you want to play with individual to help match the temperature, the color is. You see now he's a bit blue now. So you can actually just go to the graph. For the blue, can Can push it a little bit down. Just a little bit. Now we can see what happens. You can see now he looks a little bit too green. So can always move it down a little bit. Just play with it. Yep, now it looks much better. And that's it for my tutorial blending. Thank you.